Hi, it's Ant here and welcome back to Unboxing Music. Having been to 2 record fairs in consecutive weekends in Stockport and then in Sasha's in Manchester, it's time for a quick return to Stockport. Well, technically Woodley and the Woodley Civic Centre for a record fair that's taking place on the 10th of December 2023. Last year's visit to Woodley came up with some cracking finds and I'm hoping for a repeat this year. And once inside, I found that there's some really interesting traders there, some that I've not had dealings with before. I wasn't disappointed this year either. I did go a bit over the top though. I went way over my budget. My budget's about £100 normally, and I completely blew that. Coming away with a
large, massive, huge
haul of records. I got 2 12-inch singles, I got 5 compilation albums, and I bought 29 artist albums. And whilst the covers are variable, the albums themselves are absolutely pristine. So without further ado, let's go through this haul of albums that I've purchased. So first off, Heavy. This is a compilation by KTEL. KTEL were responsible for some really crappy TV adverts and albums in the 70s. This one came out in the early 80s. It's got a really good selection of bands like Iron Maiden, Motorhead and Rainbow. And I think there's, how many is there? I think there's 14, 15 tracks on this as well. Great purchase. Next up, Metallurgy. This is a Jet Records compilation, features Widowmaker, Magnum and Quartz. Never seen this before. Reading Rock Volume 1. There wasn't a Volume 2, so I don't have to go hunting for that. This features loads of artists from the 1982 Reading Rock Festival, which I was at, as well as performances by UFO and Whitesnake from the 1981 Reading Festival. Acid Jazz. Do like myself a bit of acid jazz. This is Totally Wired 6, and if I really enjoy this, I'm going to have to look for 1 to 5 and anything beyond 6 as well. That's the downside of buying compilations. Joe Nama Trading. Do have a soft spot for Joe Nama Trading, even if it's the wrong way around. Really looking forward to listening to this, along with this one by Joe Nama Trading, and this one by Joe Nama Trading. So if you were keeping count, you will have realised that there was one compilation album missing, and here it is, the Best of Barclay James Harvest Volume 2. Which means I've got to go looking for the Best of Barclay James Harvest Volume 1. This is the downside of collecting. Barclay James Harvest Live, a really great prog live album. Post Woolley Wolston Home leaving Barclay James Harvest, we get Eyes of the Universe, and the single on here, Love on the Line, is a great song. Parallel Lines by Blondie, been after this for a while. This is in fantastic condition as well. Having picked up a Curved Air album in Stockport, I purchased another one here. This is called the second album. It's got this fabulous die cut cover as well. Really like this. Really unusual. Deep Purple, made in Europe, came out in 1976 after the band had split. This was from the 1975, early 75 shows in Europe. Great album. Deep Purple Powerhouse. Kind of a compilation, but it had some unreleased stuff on it as well. So technically it could be 6 compilation albums. There's a song called Black Knight. Much prefer the live version, which is on this, to the studio cut single. Right, Sammy Hagar. Controversial opinion time. I think Sammy Hagar was far better in his solo career than he was in Van Halen. That's not to say Van Halen weren't great with Sammy Hagar, but I think his solo career is far superior, and I'm starting to build up a collection of his solo albums now. Steve Hackett, Voyage of the Acolyte. This is the last of the early albums that I wanted to get for Steve Hackett. And Ace of Wands, that's the song, was a live staple in the band's live performances. Great album, got it on CD, really looking forward to listening to this on vinyl. Next, gotta cover this up a bit. There's otherwise YouTube will be banning this particular video. Come Out Fighting Genghis Smith by Roy Harper. This was his second solo album. I think it came out in '67. Superb stuff. Magnum 2. Love me a bit of Magnum. Magnum 2 on eBay is in great condition. Is going for about £25 at the moment. I picked this up for a £5. Even comes with an inner sleeve, which I didn't get with my original version. Happy to get this again. John Miles, Stranger in the City. Big song on this, Slow Down. I have seen John Miles a couple of times in concert. Fantastic artist. Music isn't on this album, but still looking forward to listening to this. Next, Rainbow. Finishing off my, well, not quite finishing off, still got a couple of albums to go. Finally got a copy of Rising. This was £15 in near mint condition. Not a first press, not too fussed about that because this is a cracking pressing of it anyway. And it's such a classic album. Rainbow, Straight Between the Eyes, great album. Not so keen on the single Stone Cold, but otherwise it's a really good album. Right, last one of Rainbow, Rainbow Final Vinyl. This is a live album with some studio cuts. The live is a little higgledy-piggledy because it contains performances by the singers Graham Bonnet, Ronnie James Dio and Jolyn Turner. And there's a couple of instrumentals on here. Weissheim I think is on here as well. So another great purchase. And again, I saved myself about £5 or £6 by buying it at the record fair in comparison to buying on eBay. Another controversial opinion. I preferred the Stones' work from 1978 through to the late 80s. I think this is their probably their most accessible period. But I think because I got to see them several times around that time as well. Great to get this one. Yeah. Samson, Head On. This band I saw supporting Gillan. I think I saw them at the Reading Festival as well. Samson had a singer called Bruce, who then later changed his name to Bruce Dickinson. Well, that was his original name anyway. I went on to sing for Iron Maiden. Happy to start getting some Samson in my collection. I Want to Feel Like Dancing, or You Make Me Feel Like Dancing, Leo Sayer and Endless Flight. This was a big album around 76, 77. Going to look forward to listening to this one as well. Right, continuing the poppy theme, Shalimar, The Look. Got a bit of a disco soft spot for Shalimar. Thought they were a really good band in the 1980s. Rod Stewart, as a rock singer, hugely underrated. There's some cracking tracks on this album as well. You Keep Me Hanging On, and If You're Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. Just superb performances. Love this album. Glad to get this back in the collection as well. Right, Styx, Equinox. Big single on this for me was Lorelei. Again, I was starting to build up my early Styx work. I wasn't so keen on the 80s stuff. The 70s was really proggy in an interesting way. Back to Reading Festival and a band from Reading, 12th Night. I saw them at Reading Festival. I also purchased a couple of tapes of theirs that I got from the back pages of Sounds magazine. Didn't know about this album for some reason, but again, be interesting to listen to this. U2, such an unpopular band in some ways. I really like their early 1980s work, and it all culminated with this album for me and the Joshua Tree. Really went off them after that. This album isn't quite a soundtrack to the Live at Red Rocks videotape DVD, but it's pretty damn close, and I really enjoy listening to this album, so glad to get this again. Right, Utopia, another live. Never seen this for sale. Even back in the late 70s I never saw it for sale, so I'm really pleased to get this one. Sticking with Utopia, Oblivion. I kind of went off Utopia after Oops Wrong Planet, so this is a bit of a gamble. Don't know anything about this album, but it's got Todd Rundgren on it, so it should be good. But that doesn't always mean anything. Right, getting towards the end of the pile now. Narada Michael Walden, famous for a couple of disco hits, but he was also a go-to session musician on rock and disco and soul albums. Again, I don't know anything about this album. Picked it up. I think this was only £2. Can't wait. Right. Whitesnake, Live in the Heart of the City. Double album released in 1980, I think it was. 1980. Contains first album was only released in Japan, which was from their 1978 tour, which I saw, and the other album is from 1980. I've had this on CD, I've wanted to get it on vinyl, and this was a really great price as well. Right, that's all the albums. 2 12-inch singles now. You're going to hate me for this. George Michael, Careless Whisper. A cracking tune. Well, absolutely amazing tune. And it's very filthy, this single, and it's going to need a lot of scrubbing to get it up to spec. But I can't wait to get it on the turntable. It's a phenomenal song. And finally, Dweezil Zappa 12-inch single, Staying Alive. This is the Bee Gees song which he's covered, and yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to this. I've never heard it before, and it's got a very frank titled song on it as well, The Return of the Son of Sugar Googa Gunga. Yeah, okay, and that's it. That is my complete haul. So, the records I purchased ranged from £1 to £20. There weren't very many in the high end. It was all mostly less than £10 and a lot of bargain bin diving again. In the end, I spent £180. Blew my budget, and I know it's a lot of money. And it works out to, with counting all the 12-inch singles and the compilations and the albums, works out at £5 a record. And that's pretty damn good. And that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, hit the subscribe button. And I will see you, yes you, in the next video. Bye bye.